Adam, you're watching, you're trying to pick out what's happening. There's loads happening. What is happening here is Tadej Pogacar's coming good on his promise. He's set Tim Wellens to work. He's on the wheel, and not many can follow now. Sepp Kuss can. Ben Healy just in that second group, getting caught out.
This is going to be a big move, I think. If Tadej Pogacar goes this early on, and where we think he's going to go, that's a long road ahead of him. It's been hard for quite a long time.
81 kilometers to go. Make a note of that number, because Tadej Pogacar, who went on a 50-kilometer solo raid 2 years ago, has taken off, and nobody can match his power. It's a long way to the finish here in these epic, as you described, Dan Lloyd, biblical conditions.
It's a long way to go. Doesn't matter who you are, even if you are Pogacar, 81 kilometres on your own is an awful long way to go solos. I'm surprised he's gone not to try to take at least somebody with him that's prepared to work, prepared to try and take it all the way to the finish line.
He told us he'd attack here, and that's exactly what he's done. Tadej Pogacar turning his first pedal strokes in anger in 2024, in a year where he's going to take on both Giro d'Italia and Tour de France. Andy Sax del Toro, his teammate, is still following in the group behind and looking very good. Now, Christophe Laporte's in here, Matej Mohoric, Maxi Vochils is up towards the front as well. He's the rider in the red jersey that's now covered in mud. He told the interviewers this morning that he would attack here at this 5-star sector, longest of the race, Monte Santa Maria. Look into the distance, it's spectacular. But Pogacar, the Slovenian champion, has no time to check things out. He'll have taken in the scenery on his recon ride. He's come with white frosted hair tips to what he called the white road race. It's more like the brown roads today, because it has been lashing it down with rain in the last 15 minutes. It has stopped, but it's changed the surface underneath. The race has been changed by Pogacar, though, and nobody else. Tadej Pogacar, in the space of 3 to 4 kilometers since his attack, has taken a minute now on the chasing group. There is Pogacar. He said he would attack on the hardest sector today. He's done that. Monte Santa Maria is out of the way. We now have the longest part of the race without any dirt sectors to go. Tadej Pogacar has 2 minutes on the chasing group, 1 minute 30 on Maxi Vochils. A caveat, and a pretty big one, there are still 70.5 kilometers to go, and this is Tadej Pogacar's first race of the season. This is an important point in the race, because this is where, in the history of Strade Bianche, for the first time in years, things change.
Yeah.
We're onto the circuit now. Normally, you get to Colle Pinzuto and you're going, hang on a minute, we're getting towards the end of the race now. Not this year. There's still 49 kilometers to go for the man who has almost 3 minutes of a lead on everybody else. And this is Pogacar. He's enjoying himself. He can afford to do this. He's got 3.5 minutes as he's on Le Tolfe.
Any general rider would not be able to hold his wheel, and he's been on the attack for 40 k's. He's done 150 k's before this as well. It's just madness.
attacking was going on behind, the gaps growing, and that tactical play that you talked about was playing out. Tadej Pogačar was riding sector 13. He's off it now. He has just 2 sectors to go and 22.2 kilometers remain. With Pogačar coming on to the penultimate sector now, at the end of the brand new circuit in this race. He's back to Colle Pinzuto. I think we know how it's going to go, and it's going to be something that is going to sit there in the record books, in the history books, in the storied of sports, in a relatively new race that already looks special and like a real classic. It's going to have a heroic performance to go with its nickname, the Heroic. He's approaching the final sector. Pogačar still looking good, still moving well, still extending his lead. It ticks on to 5 minutes, 5 long minutes over the main chasing group, as Tadej Pogačar takes on the Tolfe for the second and final time of this adjusted Strade Bianche route. They've come to see their hero. They're here for the great entertainer, and entertain them he has done. For almost half of this ride, it's been a solo ride. Pogačar's there, and every little bit of noise here is for him. It's over here that the road becomes smoother. The gravel is gone. 71 kilometers of it tamed by this man. Every moment recorded for the memory, because Tadej Pogačar might never do anything like this again. That was unique. This is Pogačar, and there is nobody at all like him. Van der Poel just making his way to the front, right onto the wheel of Wout van Aert.
Nice and steady so far, not too many riders looking like they want to attack from this situation. And maybe this is Van der Poel's tactic, you know, go to the front, demoralise people from attacking. If he's there, you're not going to want to start an attack with him there, you want to go away from him.
And it's time now for the big names to take on the Timeberg. On the left-hand side is Van der Poel, who's already making his move, crunching on the pedals now, trying to get onto the wheel of riders up to the front. Of course, Tom Squinch is also there. Stalven is putting down the pressure on the pedals, and here we go. The world champion taking off on the Timeberg, and at the moment, nobody's able to follow. Pedersen is trying. Van Aert is starting to struggle a little and slip and slide. Trentin is there as well, and Van der Poel is starting to open up a little bit of a gap, Adam Blythe. This man, though, has been getting ready at home in Andorra. He's been racing. He was in the top 10 in San Remo, and he's on the way back. It's Julian Alaphilippe, who takes off from Berchtesgaden. No Van Aert in the picture yet. He's further down. Same with Van der Poel. Only Pedersen can follow, and Van der Poel will be hoping that his teammate Kral can follow. For the minute, though, just in front of him is where there's a gap. Now Van Aert makes his move, and Van der Poel is on his wheel. Amazing how good they both are, not just at the positioning, Adam, but picking the moment of when to make that move across the gap. From Van der Poel, who's on the wheel there, he followed that, and look, Visma Lease Bike must chase. This time not Van der Poel making the move himself, it seems, but it is Jorgensen coming across. There's a rider there who looks like it might be Aski, perhaps, from Groupama FDSU. We'll have to get close and have a look. And also UAE Emirates are involved. Now Van der Poel goes. He makes his move, and he's trying to bridge across to Maspers. So Van Aert goes, Girmay follows, Narvaez, that draws out Fred Wright and Julien Alaphilippe. It was indeed Lewis Askey who was in that move. Stefan Kung is towards the back of this group. This now is Mars Persson, former world champion to the current man in the rainbow bands. Then you have the Killer Bees. Then you've got Girmay, the winner of Gent-Wevelgem. Van der Poel wants that small group, as you said, and look at this. It's like the United Nations of superstars of cycling. Van Aert is there, Jorgensen, Van der Poel, Girmay, Narvaez and Pedersen. More prizes amongst this lot than all the recent game show winners.
Oh la la.
The group splits once more as Mathieu van der Poel takes off for the third time in this race. Still 66 kilometres remain, and it's old nemesis Wout van Aert who makes the chase.
It looks to me like Van Aert's just opening up his engine slowly, coming down from altitude. Sometimes you're that little bit rusty, you know, not quite there. He looks like he's got the power, the endurance, but just not that super sharpness, not that big explosive power yet. He's got to ride into it a little bit, but as I just said, Van der Poel coming to the front of that group, wanting to extend that gap. That's his second attack within 2 minutes. He wants a small group to go. He doesn't want all these riders to contend with. He doesn't want the strength in numbers from other teams.
Now, Van der Poel is following here, Van Aert is following him, and it looks as though that latest move again is going to be called. It's stop-start, it's go away and we'll chase you, and it's all back together again until Matej Moric is the latest to put power through the pedals. And now it's Oyod Lascano's turn to make the move, and look how important the riders think he is now, because he's followed immediately. Van der Poel's there, Van Aert's on his wheel, the Spanish champion is a real engine, and now Van der Poel overtakes.
Same spot as last year, same part of the road on the left-hand side. Van der Poel over the top. Van Aert starting to bob that head right on his limit. This is a full-blown attack. Look at Van Aert on his bike. Van der Poel as well. It's almost that cyclocross style, Rob, where they're almost out the saddle just a little bit, banging down that power, each pedal stroke. And look at the gap. 50, 60, 70 metres, and he's opened up 3-4 seconds easy.
It's Lebert who's been caught at the top, who is in the breakaway for Aker BMB, and it is the terrible twosome. Mathieu van der Poel, Wout van Aert, reunited on the road, renewing their rivalry, and with just less than 60 kilometres to go, making the race at Erdrie Pres Harelbeke. It's Mathieu van der Poel. It is Narvaez. Kung is there. Oh, and he's down. You could just see Wout van Aert losing grip, losing balance. Wout van Aert is down, and getting going from that again on the Paterberg is almost impossible.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take one monumental effort here for him to get back on there. What happened was Van der Poel came in, Van Aert was on the left-hand side, but Kung swung in front of him. Van Aert tried to go right to get around him, but just lost it on that bit. But Van der Poel.
This is a horrible hill. It's short, but it's steep. It is hellish. Lascano was out there with 7 seconds going on to it, and now Van der Poel is sailing away from him. Up the biggest gradient, his big rivals at the back, contrasting fortunes for both of them, and the race now is on yet again. It's Paterberg advantage to Mathieu van der Poel, and as we now go to the Quaremont, it's everything to do, and almost a miracle required for Wout van Aert. Alone at the front of Harelbeke is Mathieu van der Poel. He's finished second and third at this race, Adam.
Kirsch, then you've got what looks to be Van Aert just bridging back across that group. Fred Ryan his wheel, jumping across to Alaphilippe.
This is Mathieu van der Poel with a World Champions jersey on his back. They line the road left and right, and Van der Poel pedalling away. And listen to that. It's the sound of spring, and the gap to those behind him is increasing. 32 seconds and counting. 32 seconds and growing. Van der Poel could well be putting them to the sword here. There's a long way to go. There's a lot of riders behind, but the gap continues to increase. Is there going to be reaction? Fine fettle here. Van Aert is doing a good job though. Look at that, another few seconds out the gap. You talked about the time trial differences between the two. Maybe Van der Poel more explosive over those steeper climbs and the shorter differences, but Van Aert, we know that he's got the strong engine, hasn't he? He's a real diesel when he gets going and when he gets up to full speed. There ain't much stopping him. He's taking it down to 20 seconds here.
13 seconds, he's getting close to this headwind. Van der Poel on the radio as well. Van Aert's just got to do what he's got to do. Let's not forget this man crashed on the Paterberg, but he's wheeling slowly but surely the world champion back in. He's got him in his sights, he's close. A little look over the shoulder there, Van der Poel as well. Free ride, Van Aert, 11 seconds now. Another climb coming.
There's quite the story brewing here. It looked like Wout van Aert was out the game on the Paterberg.
Cross headwind, Rob, all the way down to the finish. So just a little look there, and it is a cross headwind all the way down to the finish. This direction for pretty much most of it, and then a left turn with about 10k to go into the centre of Kortrijk. When they turn, they'll still get the sort of cross headwind, head crosswind. 16 seconds, still holding.
Sections, 40 seconds is being shown on the chalkboard. 125 back to the next group. Difficult place this, isn't it, now for Van Aert, because he's seen that gap. He probably knows what's coming in terms of not being able to win the race unless a miracle happens. The rainbow is shining across this parkour in the shape of Mathieu van der Poel. Mathieu van der Poel's father, Adri, came third, came second here. Van der Poel himself has been third. Last year was second, but he's back, he's done it. And finally, Mathieu van der Poel, after another classy performance, has done the business. We salute you. Van der Poel across the line. He ticks off another, and one of the biggest classics in the world has now been added to a perfect palmarès.
This is where the real punishment begins, and Tadej Pogačar sitting in wheel 2 here, just on the back wheel of his teammate Marc Soler, who's absolutely grinding it in. And there is Pogačar, and he starts to look just so relaxed as it, you'd think, eases just a little bit. We're not quite there just yet. 15 and 10% it comes down to. 6 over the crest till it flattens out, and then we will have that long downhill. But just look at the damage that's been done.
Looking at the support that Pogačar's got, he's got 3 of his teammates here, and this is what I was saying earlier on. Just about and I said, hang on, who can hang on? Because he went again, and he's just dropped a bomb.
And again.
Landa there, Tiberi, he's on a good day. No,
Yeah.
I think that was good from Movistar. What they wanted to do is put the other GC contenders in a bit of trouble. But now, you know, there's nothing they can do about Pogacar. I think everybody says he's on a different level, nothing you can do.
And they're doing so again right now. Tadej Pogacar has just stretched his lead, and this is a goodbye to everybody. Good night, Irene. He is on his way to another stage win by the looks of things. What on earth will be the gap overall by the end of the day? Don't be surprised if it's nudging up towards 4 minutes the way he's going, because it could be that others moderate their pace in order to have a bit of a kick at the end. You don't want to be isolated out there if you're anyone other than Tadej Pogacar. But who do you ride with? Who do you choose to shake hands with and count your fingers afterwards? Well, this man, one finger on the trigger, and he's pulled it, and away he goes. 29 kilometres from home, 2.4 to the top of this test, and he's equal to any test out there. He's passing them all with flying colours, Brian. Meanwhile, watch out for these chevrons, and indeed Rock. Goodness me, he's absolutely pushing this, Brian. He's taking no prisoners.
No, but he's confident, he's comfortable. You know, when you're here and in the moment, you don't think too much of it. It's when you watch someone else do it, your toes curl up a little bit.
Tadej Pogacar over Egan Bernal, who's chomping at the bit here. You know, there are some great riders in this race, and Tadej Pogacar has humbled them, Brian. He's kicking on again. Clock just readjusting. The Vlasov group at 2 minutes. This is going to be... Well, he had nearly 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes and 27 over Mikel Landa at the beginning of the day. We suggested that it might well be there's a 4-minute margin overall by the end of it. And the best climber here is Tadej Pogacar by far, and the clock can't decide what it wants to do at the moment, and it's starting to head out towards that blushes moment, isn't it? 10 Ks from home, another climb still to come. Tadej Pogacar in his pomp, Brian. This man, well, it seems he's almost like an impresario. He gathers all of the great showmen around him and then leads them. It's his game, and he plays it absolutely beautiful. Tadej Pogacar crosses the line, and the clock starts to toll against everybody else. Here is the Hungarian champion on the front from Visma Lease bike. The yellow bikes give away their trade colours. And that is the blue jersey, of course, of our race leader, which is Jonas Vingegaard.
Jonas Vingegaard with a little acceleration here towards the front. Doesn't want to be outdone and be pushed back for the descent. So the last 4 kilometres of the climb will be a little bit faster, just less gradients. This is really splitting out. Pidcock is still here, and Ayuso has joined the back of this group, so he's got himself back in contention. Just dangling there on the wheel of Jonas Vingegaard is his teammate, Kjan Uiterbroek.
here we go. It had to be Jai Hindley picks it up, and it's Jonas Vingegaard who's the only man who can go with him. Vingegaard has pressed go, and Ayuso wants to be part of this. O'Connor cannot respond for Decathlon AG2R. He's leading that next group, as you can see. Kruiswijk on his back wheel, and Thomas Pidcock's looking behind, wanting a bit of an assist, and he's going to get one. Arensman has just started to pace him. Is it Pidcock's doing it himself? Vingegaard has a look behind. Now, this is the front of the race. Now it's time to go. Hammer down time, and Vingegaard says see ya. And the man who can stay with him is Ayuso. Jai Hindley re-accelerates, almost caught blindsided momentarily. He's so good at this, Vingegaard. He picks his moments, and it's a heartbreak one he can kick on and do it. And Ayuso can't follow, Hindley can't follow, and the elastic is just about to snap if it hasn't already. Ayuso looking at Hindley, asking for a turn. He can't offer it, and Vingegaard has gone. 6 kilometers. He's gone up towards the peak, and he is not going to stop. He wants this to be emphatic, just as it was yesterday, just as it will be in the future, and just as it is right now. What a guy. This is magnificent. Well, he has to go to the press conference anyway, as Robbie was saying, as the race leader. You may as well do it as stage winner as well. When you have the form, use your legs for goodness sake. And he is magnificently so. He owns this place and this race.
Be the winner of this race at a kilometre to go. Jonas Vingegaard holding 37 seconds over the chase.
This man is clear the winner. He's going to come to the line as owner of the Tirreno-Adriatico with a day still to be had. This is an acknowledgement, as always, to those back home. His daughter, his wife, he thanks them with his actions, and his actions have been heartbreak for just about everybody behind him.